Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only thing you
Where's the
say
love? Right here on
does
this
the other
podcast.
man.
Welcome to
Welcome
Love
to Love
Drops,
Drops,
where your
never
host
things
and
I
One Love
wouldn't do,
ambassadors,
never
Charles
risking
and
my
Diane,
waist,
will
together
share love,
rise you an empty
hope,
one
and
that takes the
inspirational
space. So
topics
it's like
taken
all
from
the
their
things I
journey
do
and
ain't true.
world
I was
events.
a child
We
just
will
like
also include
you.
on location recordings and special pop up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love never, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
So, welcome to another episode of Love Drop Podcast. We are so happy to introduce our next guest. We were able to meet him on an overnight adventure. We took to Boston to view a play, but I am going to allow our guest to get into that a little bit more. Just a pleasure to have him. And Charles.
Yes, our guest today, he played a very outstanding role. His character, wow, there was a wealth of history just in the character of Prince Hall. We were overly elated with his presentation of that. But I'm not going to say any more about it. I'm going to turn it over to our guest, Joshua. Joshua, with that said, welcome to the Love Drops podcast.
Yes, hello, beautiful people. It's a pleasure to be on. I'm happy I got to be on. I remember when you had come to see the show, you had mentioned this podcast, and the name really just grabbed my attention. Uh, yes, everybody, hello. My name is Joshua Olumide. Uh, I was recently in a production of Phyllis in Boston here in Boston, Massachusetts, and I played Prince Hall, as Diane and Charles alluded to. And bringing that character to life was really a privilege. Some Prince Hall Masons came out and saw the show, and that night when they saw it, I think you two were there that night, or maybe you came a different night. Oh, you were? Ah, yes, yes, yes. And so, yeah, that night was very, very special. Bringing Prince Hall to life in front of them that night in particular was a great night. And yes, I live just about 20 minutes outside of Boston, and here we are.
And here we are. So, give our listeners a little bit more insight about who Joshua is. Give us a little bio so that we can get to know you a little bit better.
Indeed, indeed. So I was born in Massachusetts, in Framingham, but I grew up in Worcester. Worcester's right in the heart of Massachusetts, who people who know the geography. And I got into acting in high school. It was my junior year of high school, and I had to be on pace to graduate. So I go into my guidance counselor's office, and he says, you have to take an art course to be able to have all your credits to graduate. And I say, oh, okay, cool, yeah, put me whatever class. And then he says, all right, I'll put you in acting class, drama class. And I was like, all right, easy enough, to be or not to be. That should be a easy A to get those credits. And then the next year, now mind you, I'm an athlete. I'm a football player in high school. I'm thinking I'm going to go to college to play football. But yeah, next year I go into acting class, and it was the most unorthodox group of kids I had come across in high school at the time, because they were all theater kids. Those theater tropes you see. I was like, oh, this is all right, whatever. I'll just get used to this. But as the class went on, it was the non-judgmental aspect that I saw in those classmates of mine that really drew me to this more and more. Because when you're up there on stage, you can't judge yourself. You can't, all of that is let go. Yeah, you're being laughed at, but you're being laughed at with other people who are doing it with you. So it's that made a sense of a new type of community that I wanted to be a part of. And so I still played football, of course. And so, but I also auditioned for the school play, and I got in the school play that year. It was the winter, and yeah, from then on, I just stuck with it. I caught the bug. Went to college in New York City for acting, the American Musical Dramatic Academy in New York City, and lived there for 5 years. And I
Mhm.
came back to Massachusetts in 2021, post pandemic. So, so this is where we are. Everything that has happened since high school is let's see here, my friends.
Wow. Wow, that's really interesting. So when you came back to Massachusetts, was it for family or was it career or both?
It was just a gut feeling. It was
Nice.
the gut feeling. Indeed, it was. And so I just went with that flow and I said, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be right now. And I still believe it's where I'm supposed to be. And even logically, I just wanted to create this environment. I didn't want to live in a big city, going down the line, raising a family and all of that. So I said to myself, just how I wanted to picture, my life here. I just would rather live in a more rural area in a community with houses all over and actual grass and trees and not waking up
Right.
to trucks at 7 a.m.
Right. Right. That is definitely New York.
Yeah.
So,
Coming back to Boston, how did you hear about Phyllis in Boston?
Phyllis in Boston. Good old Phyllis in Boston. So I got an email randomly. I think it was from Narissa, our producer. I think she had contacted me about it, but her name wasn't on the email. But I just have a sense because she runs this uh, talent group called That Child Got Talent, and it was through them. So they were looking for people, and my name was buzzing around. And so yeah, she had emailed me and or maybe her one of the assistants had emailed me, and so um, and then yeah, he said if you're interested, we're holding auditions. I came in, and Reggie was there, our director. I think Ade was on Zoom that first audition, and I enjoyed this story. It was a world premiere. It was a new play, and that really intrigued me. I had never done a world premiere before, and so to be the first one to bring a character to life was cool. So so yeah, I heard about it through an email, just a random email one day came to my inbox. I was like, all right, let's do this.
wow. And I tell you, you really did your character justice. You truly brought him to life. Um, and your acting was superb. The cast was very limited. I want to say it was a cast of five.
It was five of us.
Right, a
Yeah.
cast of five, and a cast of five with very little prop. So just really the acting is what had to carry the show, and the acting was superb, superb.
It really was. And you brought Prince Hall to the front. As you mentioned, a lot of Prince Hall Masons were there. I'm a Mason as well. You
Mhm.
gave so much to that character. It just came out. It didn't seem as if you were even trying. You were Prince Hall. You were that character. And
Oh,
you did. Oh, you did it. You did it. I felt so elated. I said, will you look at Prince Hall? I was telling my wife, Prince Hall really did Prince Hall, did
Yeah,
he?
yes, yes, he was very impressed,
I was very impressed indeed.
and
Thank you very
Charles was
much.
easily very impressed. I'm easier to impress than Charles, so that speaks a lot.
Yeah, I'm usually so bland about things, and it's just my nature, relax, cool, calm, and collected. But you had me sitting on the edge of my seat. Everything that you did, even when you did something, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. It was just phenomenal.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell you this. It's always an honor to perform in front of an audience, even when it's received in any type of manner. Because yeah, this is a job where I look at it as um, we are giving ourselves, we are of service, really. It's a certain way of service, giving service. We are, people on stage are interacting in a certain way to make the audience feel something, but all in all, it's a communal aspect. We're all learning something. We're all feeling a certain type of energy. And so to be able to relay that energy to the ones that are watching is very much so a gift and a privilege to be able to do that as a job.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that brings me to um, another topic, and that is, how did you prepare? How did you prepare for your role? How did you embody the role so well? And did you learn anything in portraying Prince Hall that you didn't know?
So that role, how did I prepare for it? So the thing about acting is why I love this job so much is all of us humans, we are all multidimensional beings. And I find whenever I'm portraying a character, what aspect, what dimension of myself am I going to bring out for this? So playing Prince Hall was getting in touch with that organizer, who he was. I doing my research about him. He was an organizer. He was a leader. He's fiery man. He was very determined, focused, and so bringing it out within myself. Now in my day to day, like Charles, I'm very laid back, chillaxed. I like to enjoy my day to myself. Is going to the cafe, doing some writing, some reading, and then that's pretty much that's how I am. Indeed, Charles is the same way. So Prince Hall was very, he was a man who built relationships. He started his own lodge of Freemasons. And so to be able to do that, and knowing that it would help Africans gain sovereignty in the colonies, transatlantic relationships is what he was building as well through Freemasonry, starting his own school later on in his life. So all these qualities that he had, I brought up within myself, and it was fun to portray that for 2 months.
Yes.
Well, during that production, what was most memorable for you?
Oh, the cast. The cast. We had that cast. My people. Yeah, I loved the cast. I think every show I've been a part of, the cast has made it what it was. And this cast in particular, even the way we just hung out outside of, work, it was really pretty effortless to just go like, oh, yeah, guys, let's go, let's go here, let's go have a drink, let's go hang out, let's go talk. And let's go to our apartments. They came over to my apartment and I went over, we all had, what was it? We had a game night. Yeah, we had a game night at one point. And, yeah, we had fun. We just had fun, just being around each other. And I remember particular moments where we would just, I don't know, just doing what people do, what friends do. And so the most memorable moment is building relationships in this project.
Wow. And you said friends. And so just from the amount of time spent with you and just building relationship, I know that for you to say friend, you don't say it lightly. So it's not like a social media type handle on friend. For you to say friend, then those relationships build. And so when Charles and I flew into Boston to watch the production, we actually had the privilege to go hang out with the cast afterwards. And everything that you say, I felt it. And that was part of the experience for us, is just to have that connection and that time with the cast after the production. We were already blown away watching the production, but then to just watch how you guys interacted, and everyone just sincerely just meshed. I mean, the flow, the vibe was just, it was on point, and you can't fake that. So yeah, that was memorable for me as well. In my experience, it's just, just the cast too.
Yeah, and watching the play and then after and seeing you guys interact with one another, it was like a family. So that made the play even more real after and before. You guys brought it. The blend of your individualized character was just phenomenal. We loved it.
Yes, we did.
Some of the folks were asking us, you flew all the way here overnight? You got, yes, yes. And we were rewarded for that.
Yeah, we
We
were.
were very
Yeah,
much
we
rewarded.
were. Yeah, we
Very
were.
happy you two. Yeah, very happy you came out. Yeah, that was a delightful surprise. Now, I thought you two knew our playwright, Ade. I thought you two knew.
We did well, we knew Ade through another group that we're in called the Soul Safari. So Ade and I had only spoken virtually. So that was our first human connection physically with Ade as well. And it was really interesting because as we entered the venue, I was like, well, I hope I can, find her or whatever. But going back to that flow, the very first person that I saw inside of the venue was Ade. And we both knew who each other were immediately and just embraced as if we were old friends, right? Because, just that human connection that we had previously built. And so yeah, we're building. We met her in person when we met you guys. Yeah,
That's excellent. That's
yeah,
excellent. Yeah,
yeah,
and I mean, yeah, that's why I thought you two knew each. I mean, you got that sense. That's why I was like,
yeah,
oh, I
Yeah.
thought we were knowing each other. You just knew.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
were sharing food in the restaurant, so like, yeah, that's
Yes.
Those are good chicken wings. Those chicken wings are
no,
good.
those were good chicken wings. You
Good.
said it. You
Yeah.
said it.
Thank you for giving me one. I appreciate that. You gave me a chicken wing. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, right. That's right. That's right. So what I was going to say is, were there any challenges that you encountered during the production, and how did you work around that?
Challenges. I love challenges. Challenges are always good. It's funny when we encounter challenges, or at least when I encounter challenges, I when it's there in the moment, it's there, and when we overcome it, it's gone. Move on to the next. So going
Mm-hmm.
back on those challenges, I don't know, just like I guess any challenges were like some costume stuff. Well, I will say, besides the costume pieces, like I remember my button came off a couple times, but we had a great costume designer that came in and fixed that pretty timely. But during the production, so the stage, as you recall, this took place in the Old South Meeting House, and that's not a traditional stage. So when we walk backstage, the floors would creak, trying to be quiet when walking to my offstage position, not to disturb what's going on stage, quote unquote, on stage. And so it was the performing in a just like it was a church like setting. We had church pews, and yeah, that was a challenge figuring out how to really maneuver that space. But we figured it out. I, just got into the sense of knowing that, all right, this play takes place in the Old South Meeting House,
Mm-hmm.
historically, where, Sons of Liberty, the Patriots, Samuel Adams would come for small meetings. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, so we're here as if it was actually 1773 and we're just these
Mm-hmm.
people meeting here,
Yeah.
and the audience just so happens to be there. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it grounded us in the reality of it. So having that perspective helped overcome that challenge.
That's a great
Mhm.
perspective. And it's so funny because as you were speaking, I said the challenge was actually part of the whole setting, right? It was a whole part of the atmosphere because to have it in that old church, that was a part of bringing it to life, to actually be in the space
Mm-hmm.
where Phyllis Wheatley was actually in that space, right? And so to actually be there in that space to watch it happen, it was as if you were looking through a time capsule, right? Like you were seeing something from back brought to life. It felt like we were actually living in that moment.
Yes, I felt as if we went through a portal and we were sitting there looking through a portal at Prince Hall and everyone around him. And wow, that's again, while I was saying I was sitting on the edge of my seat. Uh, that portal that we were looking through, you guys brought it to reality,
Hmm.
and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it.
All
We
right,
were
time
there.
travelers.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. We felt like it when we came to that play, I'll tell you, because we started Saturday. No, we started Saturday in South Carolina. We ended it in Boston. We started Sunday in Boston. We ended it in South Carolina. So yeah, felt like time travelers a little bit,
You did, but well worth it.
well
Well,
worth it. Well worth
Excellent.
it.
Excellent.
So, before we come to the end, I want to just give you the space to share with our listeners the things that you are currently working on. So, what are you doing?
Yes, yes. Lovely listeners, fellow friends. Yeah, so right now I'm in a film called American Fiction, currently in theaters. Should be in theaters for, I don't know, some time now. It has been in theaters since December 15th, but I believe it'll still be in theaters for about a month or so. But go out, check it out. It's a very funny film, pretty satirical. It sends a great message of stereotyping, particularly in Hollywood, and it really makes you think of when you put anything in a certain box. This one tackles more so the idea of being African Americans being stereotyped a certain way. But it makes you think and want to have a conversation after you view the movie, which is what a couple of my friends have said too. And so, uh, yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. I think the best films are the ones that make you have a conversation about it afterwards. Any
Yeah,
art. Yeah,
yeah, American Fiction.
American Fiction.
You
Yes.
got it. You got it. And then so we saw you doing a live production. American Fiction is in theaters, so that shows your range of talent. And so are there any other theater or what did I say, movies on the big screen that you have been a part of that you like to share?
Oh yes, yes. Please, please. I think it was on Hulu. Don't know where it would be now, but the movie Detroit came out in 2017. That was a film. That was actually my first film I was a part of. I had just graduated high school when I was a part of that film, and so yeah, Catherine Bigelow, great director, John Boyega. He was recently in a film called They Cloned Tyrone. He's known as the clone in Star Wars, Finn in Star Wars, the newer Star Wars films, and yeah, that's another very heart wrenching movie. Not another heart, but it's a heart wrenching movie.
Oh,
And
yeah. It's interesting that you were in Detroit, and Charles and I are both originally from Detroit. So that story that you portrayed on the screen was a story that we both lived
we
through that time, right? And so we're both familiar with how so many stores and businesses and lives and things were lost, and just even with the National Guards coming through and things like that. I was much younger. I was a child. Charles was an adult, but
I was there.
yeah, we both experienced that. So it's very interesting that just the way that things flow, that you would be talking to us here on Love Drops, right?
mm,
And talking
Mm.
about your first, film Detroit. So that's another thread of connection, right, between us. So yeah, that's
yes,
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
I want to ask, what has been your favorite acting role thus far? Follow that up with, what is your dream acting role? Like, what would you like to do?
That's a great question. It's funny. The dream acting role. I don't give it too much thought. I think. Oh, I do have a dream role in the back of my head. That would be playing Othello in
Oh,
Nice.
Shakespeare's Othello. There's so much to do with that play, and it's one of the most complete. I think it's hard to cut that play up. A lot of people who do Shakespeare now, they cut the play up into little chunks, and into like 90 minutes and put it on stage. But Othello, it's very hard to do that. You have to do it fully. So it's one of those few complete plays that Shakespeare has. My most favorite play I've done would have to be another Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet, so far. I did that in Maryland, and so I think that was another great cast experience. Playing Romeo was a very, very fun time. One of those iconic roles, and I think at the time is what I needed to dive into that dimension of being in love with the idea of love and doing. He's a little kid. He's a 16-year-old kid who is blinded by love, and so just letting yourself be blinded by love, I think, was what I needed at the time.
Nice.
Indeed, indeed, and yeah, that was a fun part, and that took place in a very in an intimate theater, so I could really approach it like I would working in front of a camera. The audience was like right there, about 6 feet away. So it was it was a fun one.
So with the audience being that close, that made it a very intimate setting, kind of like where we saw you in the church. Pretty intimate setting, because it's not like on a normal stage that's kind of far back. You have that little pit or that space in between. So it sounds like in that play, the audience was just right there.
Yeah, it was right there, and it was we were a bit surrounded. It was what we call a thrust stage, so the audience was in front and to the left and the right. So it was like, it wasn't quite all the way in the round, but they were in three sides of us.
Okay, that's cool. That is cool. That is really cool.
With that said, what pearls of wisdom do you have to share with our listening audience?
We're going to circle it back all the way to the name of this podcast. Just love. Just love. It's that simple. Just love yourself, whatever that means to you. Really, self-love is really crucial for us to live in a healthy way. Doing the things that we know that we should be doing, and doing the things that we know that we shouldn't be doing, following that gut feeling always. And I think, wisdom, sharing wisdom could sound a bit like mumble jumble once you try to explain it, but wisdom just is. So I think all we can do is just love ourselves and share that with people.
That's good. That's good. How can our listeners connect with you to support you and all of the amazing things you're doing in the world? How can they do that?
Yes. So you can reach me. You can connect with me through Instagram. That is my one and only social media handle I have. And it is Josh Olumide, spelled OLUMIDE_. And that is my Instagram handle. Check it out.
And then do you want to shout out that movie that's now in theaters one more time?
Yes, go see American Fiction in theaters now, right now, at this very moment. Get your tickets. Bring family. Bring all your friends and family. That's a film that needs to be seen in a packed theater. It's a very, very it's a funny movie that you'll enjoy laughing with others. So, and we all want to laugh with others, don't we? That's what makes us funny.
For sure. Who's in that with you, Josh? Who's in with you?
We have Issa Rae, we have Jeffrey Wright, we have Sterling K. Brown. We have actually I share a scene with Jeffrey Wright in that film, and Leslie Uggams, who's a very, very big Broadway actress. She's a phenomenal actress, and so some great names in that. John Ortiz, Erica Alexander.
I am so excited about that. Is it limited release or is it worldwide release?
Oh, I think it's being released worldwide, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I thought that was the movie, but then I wasn't sure until, you start saying it because yes, that is definitely something we're gonna go check out. I'm gonna actually look and see if I can find it.
Yeah.
And if I find it, I'll go check it out. Charles and I, we will go check it out today, and then we will definitely shout it out for sure. Let's go.
And,
Shout out to the rooftops.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
and there
Yeah.
is a question I would like to ask you. In today's society as a man, what is your biggest concerns?
Dramatic pause. Hold on. Biggest concern. I think there is a detachment that humans can learn to have away from our egos, from our own perceptions, from our personalities. And really, everything that this world, society is based off of ideas. And we all need to see that. We all need to just be awake to that fact that these are just ideas. They don't need to be taken seriously. Societal ideas. The world becomes a concern once we take all this seriously. But to know that we are in this world and not of it, that's when we get to be free.
Okay, that was great.
Yes, we certainly appreciate that response.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. And I wanted to be true to who we are. So if you are, well, I was gonna shout out the times of the movie, but then this is pre-recorded. This is pre-recorded, so I had to pause. I had to take a dramatical pause myself because by the time this play, I'm not sure where we'll be with it as far as like where the movie will be in the theater. But what I will say is this, I'll just do a plug at the time of this recording. The movie is playing at one of our favorite theaters here in Charleston. It's called the Terrace Theater, and it's our favorite because it's
a lot of historical documentary type movies, American fiction being there.
yeah,
Yes, we will definitely be there to see it.
right. It's an older independent movie theater that they've done, updates, but it just kind of goes back to like movies back in the day. Just that old theater with the little popcorn machine and things like that. So it's
Vintage.
very vintage, very much
Going to the show.
a lot of
yes.
nostalgia. It
Yes.
was like, when it was
Mhm.
the show before it was
show.
the movies. It was like we're going to the show. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah. So I just looked it up as you were answering Charles's question. And so I see that American Fiction is playing there. And I see that there is a 4:35 showing. And so yeah, Charles and I will be doing that this afternoon in solidarity.
Yes, and we
with
will
you,
get
brother.
popcorn.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah. As we get ready to go, Charles and I will sign off with our closing words. And that is thanks for listening to Love Drop Podcast. Be sure to follow us, rate us, subscribe, and share with all that you know because love never fails. And one love.
Never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast.
Follow the challenge.
Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love.
Love it conquers all, whether big or small. Love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never